Namaskar. Today in this video, I will talk about my latest book, Lead, a leadership framework based on Indian knowledge system. So this video is going to be an introductory video, and you need to read the book and also take the assessment quiz to understand how the lead framework works. So let's see what is inside the book. In this session, we'll talk about my latest book, Lead, a leadership framework from Indian knowledge system. So the agenda of today's talk is about Lead, a leadership framework. I will discuss about six matrices and the Guṇa. Gunas like Rajogun, Tamogun, and Satogun, and how they impact our leadership. I will also talk about Lead, a leadership assessment, which is available for you and you can access it. And also, if there is any Q&A that need to be discussed. So lead, it has four pillars. Here L means Loka-saṅgraha, and E means equality, equity, equanimity, and empathy. A stands for association, ashraya, and awareness. B is for dharma, direction, and daman. L, Loka-saṅgraha, it means that a leader should think about the entire population. They should think about the society. They should think about this planet, so sustainability. If you do not think about the entire earth that we are living, the plants, the animals, the humans, then our plan will not be successful and it is not sustainable. Therefore, it is very important that we talk about how this leadership is linked with the L. Then E is equality, equity, equanimity, and empathy. It talks about how a leader should behave. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord talked about the Samattam Yoga. Samattam Yoga means one is not disturbed in case of failure or success. He remains equipoised and his decisions are not impacted by these situations. While dealing with others, his empathy and equality and with equity. A is association. Association is very important. A leader may be good and he may make good decisions as well. But if he's not in good association, then what happens that whenever he discusses his decisions in bad association or someone who can influence his decision, then he may change. Therefore, association is very important. Ashraya means you take shelter of uh, someone whom you think that he can guide you. So once we start believing that I know everything and I do not require a mentor, I do not require ashraya, a shelter of anyone who is superior, then we don't get chance to discuss. Sometimes a decision taken by a group could be like a group dynamic, and a group may take wrong decisions. So it's always better that you should discuss with someone whom you think that he is your mentor, he can guide you better, he can coach you. So coaches, they are very important in our life. So ashraya and awareness of situations, self-awareness, awareness about the situations. So leaders should be aware of his own situation, about the external situation, about the internal situations. So A stands for associations, having good ashraya and awareness. D is like dharma, righteousness, and good direction. And damana means having control over the senses and mind. So L, Loka-saṅgraha. So we can understand this by three words, link, Link. So link means lead with service, that means practice. Reframe goals to include societal impact. I means include all stakeholders and how to practice. Map who is affected, visible and invisible. N means nurture long-term impact and how to practice this. Choose sustainability over speed. And K means keep others' well-being central. You should also always ask this question: what is the ripple effect of this action? What will happen if I take these decisions? How will happen if my decisions are implemented? Who are going to be impacted? So always think about this Loka-saṅgraha. It's not, we are not living in an isolated world. We are living interconnected. And therefore, all decisions will impact on a larger scale. So leader should always think about Loka-saṅgraha or collective welfare in a decision. E, equanimity, equality, equity, and empathy. This is how a leader should deal. So, in short, we can say feel. So, F means fairness in all dealings, how to practice, avoid favoritism, uphold justice. E, empathy in communications, listen deeply, respond with care. E is equity in opportunity and how to practice support based on need and not sameness. And L is like we discussed, like Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita that samatvam yoga uchate. Don't fall under pressure. Stay calm and act with clarity. So L means link. E we can understand feel. Link and feel. A is association, ashray, and awareness. So we can remember by these three words, map, M-A-P, map. M means mentorship matters. So we should have mentor whom we can rely, we can discuss and understand impacts of our decisions. Are we following Loka-saṅgraha, collective welfare? Is my E pillar is perfectly mapping? So seek guidance from those rooted in Dharma. So we should have mentor who is rooted in Dharma so that he can bring us back if we are not following Dharma. Then A is audit your influences. Is it supporting collective welfare or not? So reflect on who shapes our thinking. That is very important. So sometimes I may have a good decision, but if I am not associated with good people and my association is with wrong environment and people around us, then they may impact our decisions. So we should always understand who is shaping our thinking. Then practice conscious association. Association is very important. We know that we are average of 5 people we are associating. So we should associate with good people who help us in taking right decisions for us, and our decisions are for the greater good. So choose company that elevates our purpose. D stands for Dharma, direction, Dhamma, that is self-restraint. And we can remember this by three words, ACT, A-C-T. A means align with higher duty. I will ask, is this action aligned with my deeper role? C is choose restraint over impulse. So pause before reacting. Act with clarity. T means track purpose-driven progress and measure success by impact and not ego. So link, feel, map, and then act. So these are, in short, we can remember how to use this lead framework in our daily life. So now let's discuss about the leadership mirror, the 6 reflections of strength, struggle, and growth. So we have 6 matrices: the selflessness versus clarity matrix, the dharma versus desire matrix, fear versus responsibility matrix, short-term versus long-term vision matrix, and knowledge versus application matrix, and the association matrix. So all these matrices help us to understand the lead. So lead framework works on two parameters, that is our inner orientation and the outer discipline. So if our inner orientation is like self-focused or it is for the collective good, and our outer discipline, is it low aligned with dharma or lack of restraint, or it is high alignment with dharma and a strong restraint. So think about a person whose purpose of leadership, the inner orientation is self-focused, and also he has low alignment with dharma and lack of restraint. So he falls on this quadrant. It's called chaotic opportunist. So indulgent, confused, and exploitative. It may harm institutions and people. Now let's move to the next quadrant where inner orientation is for collective good, but low alignment with dharma or lack of restraint. So this becomes a benevolent idealist. So they are compassionate, selfless, but weak on executions. The intent is more than the outcome. Now again, let's talk about someone who has inner orientation is self-focused, but he has high alignment with dharma and a strong restraint. So he may be called ambitious executor. So they are disciplined, effective, but ego, ambition centered, and short-term brilliance and long-term they possess risk. Someone whose inner orientation, he wants to be a leader with inner orientation for the collective good, and also they have high alignment with the dharma and strong restraint. So they may called as dharmic steward. So anchored in values, serving collective good, discipline, and purpose driven. So these are the four quadrants for the lead quadrant map, and this we will know based on the other six matrices. So first matrix that we discuss is selflessness versus clarity matrix. So this is called purpose-driven leadership. So on the x-axis we have selflessness, and on the y-axis we have clarity of purpose. So selflessness low to high and clarity of purpose low to high. So if selflessness is low, okay, and also clarity of purpose is also low, so it becomes like a tamasic, and it is exploitative leader. They misuse power, they focus only on personal gain and causing harm to society. Now when selflessness is high on x-axis but clarity of purpose is low, then it becomes a compassion without clarity. They can be sincere but weak, well-meaning but weak leader. And they have compassion but lack vision and are often ineffective. Now, if selfness is low but clarity of purpose is high, so this is like a Rajasic leadership. They produce a result but may not be sustainable. Ambitious leaders, they achieve results but may sacrifice ethics or sustainability. And now the last quadrant, where selflessness is high and also clarity of purpose is also high. So they are like Sattvic leadership, and they are visionary leaderships. They act with wisdom and compassion for the welfare of all. Next is Dharma versus desire matrix. So this is called decision-making leadership. So here we have on x-axis Dharma, the righteous duty, so low and high, and then we have desire-driven motivation, low and high on the y-axis. So look at if the dharma is low and also the desire is also low. So low dharma, low desire, so they are ineffective and irresponsible leader. And from Mahabharata, we can understand the situation of Dhritarashtra to be in this quadrant. Now, when dharma is high, the righteous duty is high, and desire is low, so they are like selfless dharma leader, like Krishna and Lord Janaka from, we can understand from Mahabharata. And Lord Krishna talks about King Janaka that they worked for Loka-saṅgraha. Now when dharma is low, but desire is high, right? So low dharma and high desire. So it's like a exploitative leader like Duryodhana. So low dharma but high desire. And when dharma is high, but and desire is also high, that becomes an ambitious but duty-bound leader, just like Arjuna after listening to the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. Next matrix is balancing fear and responsibility in leadership. So we have fear or avoidance on x-axis and responsibility and action on the y-axis. So if fear is low and responsibility also low, so they becomes a careless leader. And when the fear is high and responsibility is low, so they are like paralyzed leader. And when the fear is low and responsibility is high, they become the courageous leader. That is Arjuna after Krishna's guidance. And when fear is also high and responsibility also high, they are like hesitant but honest leader. So this was like Arjuna at Kurukshetra before Krishna's instruction. And next matrix we discuss about is collective orientation versus time matrix. So this is like a strategic leadership. So on the x-axis we have this time, short term and long term, and on the y-axis we have the orientation, self-interest or collective good. So if a leader is thinking only about the short-term success and short-term impact, and also the orientation is like self-interest, so they are like opportunistic leader. And when the leader that talk about and think about the long-term impact, so they are like a strategic but selfish leader. So the self-interest, they are oriented is towards self-interest. And if the leader, they are short-sighted, they cannot think for long, but their inner orientation is for collective good. So they become like a reactive leader. The intent is good, but weak planning. And if the leader can see long distance, they are visionary, and they also think of the collective good. So they are like the visionary leader, like Krishna, who guided Pandavas. And next matrix is knowledge versus application matrix. This is wisdom in action. So on x-axis we have theoretical knowledge, low and high, and application on the y-axis is low and high. So if the theoretical knowledge is also low and the application is life also low, they are like a ignorant leader. But if the theoretical knowledge is high, but application is low, they are inactive scholar leader. When theoretical knowledge is low, but they want to apply in high, so practical but limited leader. And when theoretical knowledge is high and also applications life is high, so they are like wise leader as Lord Krishna and Yudhishthira. Next matrix is this association matrix and influence on leadership quality. So qualitative association, is it tamasic or sattvic? This is on the x-axis, and on the y-axis we have openness to influence, how easily they can be influenced. Okay. So if the quality of association is tamasic and openness to influence is low, so they are like a foreign leader, and quality association is sattvic and openness to influence is low, so they become like a stagnant leader. But when quality association is tamasic and openness to influence is high, they become corrupted leader like Duryodhana with Karna and Sakuni. And when quality of association is sattvic and openness to influence is also high, so they are like uplifted leader like Prakshit Maharaj with Sukhdev Goswami. Talk about gunas and the psychology of leadership. So we talked about three gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. So sattva bring clarity, rajas they drive it, and tamas they bring inertia. So different aspects of leadership like planning, purpose, responsibility, behavior, and response to results, they are all impacted by in which guna is our driving seat. So you can see planning, if it is sattva, is thoughtful, dharma aligned, and long term. Purpose in case sattva is service upliftment, upliftment and Loka-saṅgraha, responsibility embraced with humility and steadiness, and the behavior is calm, ethical, and inclusive. And response to result for the sattva is like equanimous. Success or failure does not disturb them. In case of rajas, it's like a drive. So planning is reactive, goal-driven, short-term. Purpose is based on achievement, recognition, and personal gain. Responsibility taken with pride, often ego-bound. Behavior is competitive, restless, and intense. And response to results is elated by success and devastated by failure. If it is tamas, then planning is neglected, confused, or impulsive. Purpose is avoidance, fear, or self preservation. Responsibility evaded or delegated without clarity. Behavior is defensive, passive, or erratic, and response to results blames other, withdraws, or denies accountability. Now, this is lead assessment. So, you can scan this QR code and take to the lead assessment and understand where your scores are based on L, E, A, and D. And what are your scores based on the six matrices and on the gunas, you can also understand. This is the sample lead assessment report. So how it looks like. So you get to know your inner energy, guna. So this is based on Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord describes very in detail about Rajagun, Tamagun, Satagun. So the questions are asked based on that, and your responses will help you understand where your gunas lie. How much Sataguna, how much percent Rajaguna and Tamaguna. And normalize a score, it helps you to understand what is your score based on the average people. So this you can understand. And the six matrices, selfness versus clarity, you get in which quadrant you lie, association versus openness, where you lie, and how to interpret your position. Similarly, you also get to know about dharma and desire, fear and responsibility, and which quadrant means what for you to understand and improve yourself. Similarly, knowledge versus application, time versus collective orientation. This all you get to know in this lead assessment. And finally, they all combine together and we understand what is the impact on all the pillars of lead, LEAD, all these pillars, and what it means, where, how your decisions are being impacted, and where you can take measures to improve. And finally, you get the summary like overall lead index, how much and what are raw scores, which is the dominating pillar among the lead, and what is your leadership type. So this all detail you get in lead assessment. It has a couple of questions and it may take around 20-25 minutes for you to answer. So thank you very much. So this entire description is based on this book, Lead, a Leadership Framework from Indian Knowledge System. And this book is available on Amazon, Flipkart, and also as Amazon Kindle. You can scan this QR code and get the book. So I dedicate this work to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. Prabhupada devoted his life for spreading Krishna consciousness worldwide. And I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Suradas, Temple President Sri Radha Madan Mohanji, Temple ISKCON, Kharghar, Navi Mumbai, and he also Chairman Bhaktivedanta College of Vedic Education. Dr. Vaishno Angri Das is Director, Bhaktivedanta College of Vedic Education, and His Grace Hari Mohan Das from Lucknow. So they all helped me in understanding Bhagavad Gita and how to apply in for leadership qualities. So, thank you very much. If we have any questions, we can talk about it. And this is my website, pvdas.in, and you can know more about my other books and also about some courses which are there. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for watching this entire video. The purpose of video was not to give the entire detail about the book or the lead framework or the methods. So everything detail is there in the book. The purpose was to introduce the elements in the book, how it is structures and what details are there. So if you want to discuss more, then please read the book or we can have personal conversation. Thank you very much and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.